respectfully against the bill. One thing I would point out about what this bill would do is the submetering of water is a relatively unique situation, and that is that unlike other utilities, the landlord is an intermediary between the bill and the tenant. And while the PUC is well equipped and designed to regulate utilities, I would suggest to you that the relatively small number of utilities compared to landlords is a difference that the PUC is not really designed or equipped to deal with, a whole bunch of water claims. Second thing I would point out is that in order to discover one of these overbillings, it requires expertise. It takes some investigation for an individual to find out whether or not there's overbilling. The third thing I would point out is it's been suggested that perhaps these violations are innocent violations. I don't personally do these cases, but I've been informed that, for example, some of these cases involve situations where the landlord will take the base charge for sewer and water and actually double it. And the only way you can find that out is you have to take the PUC charge and you have to compare it to the actual charge on the bill. The average 24-year-old college kid who's living in an apartment is not going to do that. In fact, I have an apartment here in Austin, and until I found out about this bill, I had no knowledge or had not even considered whether the possibility of whether I was being overbilled for water. And I've come to find out that actually there's ongoing litigation, class action litigation involving the apartment complex that I live in. And then finally, I would point out that this bill also does, this law also does positively affect water conservation. One of the cases I've been informed about is a situation involving a 1,000-unit low-income complex where the landlord was receiving government funds and was required under the law to install water-conserving faucets, toilets, and other fixtures, and in fact still had, even today, 4.5-gallon toilets, which meant that, number one, water was not being conserved. Number two, that the government and the tenants were being unnecessarily charged for water. We believe that as the bill is currently written, the expertise of attorneys will not be there to help tenants, and we think that it will adversely affect enforcement of this statute.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yes. Since you represent the trial lawyers, do you have a sense of how many of these cases statewide are out there?
I've been told 10, and I've been told 12 in the whole history of the statute being in existence, which means one of two things. Either there's currently widespread compliance under the current law, which would be an indication there's not a need to change, that the law is acting as a deterrent, or that there is widespread, if there is widespread violations of this statute, then it's not currently being addressed.
Right. Well, I mean, I think this bill resonates like another, tort reform, lawsuit abuse kind of bill, and so naturally one wonders whether there is lawsuit abuse, but if you're talking about 10 cases over all these number of years, and I'm familiar with class actions when I started practicing law many years ago, that's hardly a drop. I mean, that's nothing in terms of the number of cases.
And the statement had been made that some of these cases had been filed simply because the landlord had not registered with the PUC, and it's my understanding that there is not a single of these lawsuits that was filed that alleged the sole violation being that they didn't register with the PUC. Failure to register is simply a red flag that suggests maybe there's something that needs to be looked at.
All right. Thank you.
Next witness.